Hi. A week ago Saturday, I made a video about the consequences of participating in thoughts, basically. And it was written with regards to my little dog Buddha, who was hit by a car. And prior to that week, prior to her getting killed by the car, I had participated, even the night before actually, had participated within the frustration of these thoughts of her barking so much. And in the same week, Buddha she had 6 puppies, and we still have 5 of those puppies. They're 6 months old now. And during that same week, a couple of times at night, about 3 o'clock in the morning, I would get woke up to 2 of them specifically. We call them Chubbs and Charlie, and they were just would be waking us up in the middle of the night, and I would find myself being frustrated at them. And I started, when Buddha got killed by the car, I started looking at what was going on within me, what was my participation within this, because it's my world. So what is it? How was I a participant within manifesting this? And what I started looking at and realizing was that I was participating within learned behavioral patterns that were based on fear. Because when I was married some years ago, I was in an abusive relationship, and we had some dogs that were outside, and every time those dogs would wake my then husband up, or would just create a lot of noise outside barking, he would get so irate, and then the consequences of that would lead to us arguing. And it would it would fuel, it would just fuel his anger, and consequently it would get taken out on me. Still, I accepted it and allowed it, that it was still a part of me. It's what I allowed. And so what I started realizing was these thought patterns, that they were just automated. They were just coming, showing themselves, and I was allowing somewhat of participation within them. And because I was frustrated, and I wasn't at that moment, I stopped the thoughts at that moment, but I wasn't looking deeper within where did this come from. And so what really had happened was I had brought that point of fear, and that's based within these constructs of thoughts, and I had brought it with me into this relationship. And so when I would hear the dogs barking in the middle of the night, it triggered that same response pattern within me. And so what happened was, I knew this when Buddha got killed. And then Saturday morning when we woke up, we saw that 2 of the puppies, the very 2 puppies that I had also had points of frustration with, were not here. And they'd gotten out of the backyard. They've never been out of the backyard. And they're just little short things. They're not very big doggies. And I knew that, I didn't know for sure, because I didn't want to absolutely create even more havoc and more destruction and despair. So I didn't allow myself to participate. Being out in the country, never being out of a backyard, I knew the odds were not very good. So earlier today, I had to run into town, and while driving in the car, I applied some self-forgiveness on these points, and I realized that point of fear that was just an automation of myself, a learned behavior of myself, that I've used to justify and manipulate myself and my world. And then to see the consequences that manifest from this was an absolute remarkable thing for me to see, even within the consequences of losing another being. Buddha assisted me in her death. She assisted me. So what I was able to do today, which was very cool, was within myself, I realized that I was not one and equal with my animals, that I never had been. I thought I had been, but I never had been. And today I reached this point within me where I was able to put them before me and to accept them as myself, as equal. I was able to bring myself to a point of equalization, and within this, stop these patterns of getting frustrated from a point of fear, really existing within a point of fear that is no longer real. It's not even part of my world at all. When I arrived back home, it was really cool to see that my two doggies were back home. So they had been gone 3 full days, and they managed to get back home. And I'm so grateful for that, and I'm grateful that I realized the power of self-honesty, the power of self-forgiveness, and the power of being able to stand up and direct yourself to stop these thoughts, to stop the thought patterns, and to become one and equal to what is here. And this is a point that I can't prove to you. I can't prove to anyone exactly what it really means to be able to know within yourself, to be able to see a point of equalization that's not like anything you've ever experienced. It's not even an experience. It's not a happening, and it's not even a knowing. It just is. And this is the place I was at within myself when I was fortunate to see that my doggies had come home. So if knowing and seeing what my thoughts are creating and the consequences thereof is a point within myself that is it's a small realignment that I can see within me that shows me that we can all come together as one, and we can do this very thing. We can equalize ourselves one and equal with everything here, plants and animals and humans, and we can stop the current system that is currently existing as our money system, and we can begin to enforce an equal money system where all can be taken care of from birth to death. And then we can stop the abuse of all life that's here. And pay attention to your thoughts and write them down and apply self-forgiveness, and in self-honesty direct yourself to stop the patterns of the mind that you've been taught, that we've all been taught, that we've been shown, and that we've lived as words, as who we are. And within these we are manifesting our reality, and it is creating hell. And we could stand up all together, and we can become one, and we can create heaven on earth. Thanks.